Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. When I do this, I'm pointing towards the clock, just in case you guys wondered. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this video, I want it to be for everybody. People across the country. I have some viewers in England. I have some viewers in Canada. I have some viewers in Australia. So I want this video to be for everybody. What I'm talking about here is how I've discovered that larger cities have been more friendly to me, more welcoming and friendly overall than small towns. And I found this surprising. At first, I was kind of hesitant. I was kind of worried. I was kind of scared to move into a bigger city, having grown up in smaller towns my whole life. And especially, this is just my opinion now, especially since 2015 or 2016 with this whole MAGA Trump thing going on, I've actually found that more democratic cities are more welcoming and more friendly than Trump voting towns. And that's what I found to be true. Okay. Now, I'm talking about Connecticut towns. Okay, I'm talking about the town that the town that I was born in, the town that I grew up in, Thomaston, Connecticut, 7,000 people. Okay, and in 2024, Trump won by 34%. Like 70 or 80% of the town voted for Donald Trump. Small town, 7,000 people. It's right next door to Plymouth, Connecticut. It's a town of about 5,000 people. That town voted 75% for Donald Trump. Okay, these two small towns, 5,000 people, 7,000 people, mainly voted for Donald Trump. And that's where I grew up. I went to school in Watertown, Connecticut, which, by the way, voted 85% for Donald Trump. Now, I'm not really going to talk about Watertown, Connecticut. I'm going to talk about Thomaston and Plymouth, Connecticut, two small towns, 5,000 people and 7,000 people. Actually, I think Terryville might be a lot smaller than that. I think that might actually be like 3,000 people. But let's just say under 7,000 people. Bristol, where I live now, where I've lived for the last 3.5 years, is 60,000 people. It's a small city. And I have been very impressed with this city. I swear, I walk around this city every single morning for an hour, 4 miles every single year round, no matter what the weather. 5 a.m. in the morning, and I've almost never run into trouble. And if I have run into trouble, it was when somebody was a little intoxicated or might not have had all their wits about them. But in general, I've never had a problem. This is the amazing thing. I have not seen any graffiti in the city of 60,000 people. I'm sure there must be some somewhere, but I've just never seen it. In the last 3.5 years I've been here, there's no litter on the streets. I'm really impressed with this city. Let me describe to you, like I said, I've lived here for 3.5 years, and the rest, I came from Thomaston. That's where I was living for a good majority of my life. Let me describe to you, like I said, I do a lot of walking exercises. I've been clean and sober for over 18 years. I've been clean and sober since October 23rd of 2006, and I do a lot of exercising. I like to walk outside. I like to walk in the parks. I like to walk on the streets. I love to mountain bike, and I mountain bike around this city, and I mountain biked around Thomaston. So most of the people that see me in the store, I don't know them, but they know me. They've seen me around. They've seen me walking. They've seen me riding my bike. And I always get this question: hey, I see you all the time. How many miles do you ride a day? How many miles do you walk every day? And I get that every day. It's a good feeling, having come from being an addict, and now being part of society again. It's a really good feeling. But let me describe to you this. More often than not, I ran into problems in a smaller town, like on my mountain bike. I had people almost on a weekly basis edge me off the road. I'd always ride in the breakdown lane. And almost at least once a week in the smaller town, I would have people intentionally come over the white line. Yeah, because I could see them looking in the rearview mirror after they went by me and flip me off or whatever like that. Like they don't like bikers, or they don't like pedestrians in that town. This is something that happened in Plymouth, Connecticut. I walked every day. And this is the same area that my mother delivered mail. She was a mail delivery person in this exact area for 20 years. Okay. So I'm familiar, I was part of this community. I'd been clean and sober. I wasn't a troublemaker or anything like that, not during this period. And I'd walk by a house, and this one house, I didn't know these people. And every time I walked by this house, I'd see them looking out I'd see people come out in the front yard and look at me. And I'd see their car drive by me as I'm walking down the street. This one car. And like I said, I don't know these people. I'm friendly. I say hi to people and I mind my own business and everything. And every time this car went by me as I was walking down the street, minding my own business, they'd go by me about 150 to 100 feet. And then they'd start beeping their horn. Beep, 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 beep. And I'd walk in the early morning, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. Right. So people would look out their windows and they see me walking down the street and they see this car, beep, 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 driving by, like they think people are beeping at me and waving at me. So people in that area started to get angry at me, and I had no idea why this person would do this. They did it constantly. Wherever they saw me, they'd go by me a little ways, and then they start beeping. And I started to get really upset, angry about this. I actually ran into this person. I was riding my mountain bike one day, and I saw the car and the person getting out of the parking lot, getting out of the car. And I pulled up behind them on my mountain bike and kind of surprised them because I wanted to ask them, what is the deal? Why do I know you? Why are you doing this? And the person just freaked and jumped back in their car and locked the door and ignored me and started the car up and drove away. I haven't, this is just some of the weird stuff. I've had people come out of their house and ask me if I live in the neighborhood. This is the town I grew up in. This is, like I said, people see me walking around town and they ask me, do you live around here? Is there somewhere I could help you find? Like that. I would get these questions on a regular basis in the small town. In Bristol, in this city, since I moved here in the last 3.5 years, I have had nothing but friendly experiences. And I live in the main part of the city. I live in the downtown area, right near the police station. And most of the people I run into are kind of mixed nationalities, mixed race, and they are the friendliest people I have ever met. I have conversations, I say hi, I don't know their names, but I see the same people every morning, and they're the friendliest, nicest people I have ever run into. I have not had one single person ask me if they could help me find where I'm going or if I belong here or anything like that. Let me talk about this one other thing. In the small town, in Plymouth next door, I walked into a hardware store, and I had never been in this particular hardware store before. This is in Plymouth. This is kind of between Bristol and this big town and the small town that I grew up in, another Trump voting town. And I walked in there, Plymouth, Connecticut. Like I said, they voted 25% more for Trump. 75% of the town voted for Trump. And I walked in there looking, I think I was going to buy a lock. And I went up to the front, and I could tell the person probably recognized me from riding my bike or walking around town. And he says to me, you see that I work at the hardware store. You know that about me. This is what he says to me. You see that I work at the hardware store. You know that about me. What do I know about you? Where do you work? And I thought he was kidding around. I forgot what I said. I think I was in stunned silence. And what he was basically saying was that he sees me walking around town and riding my bike at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, I'm an artist and I'm a creator on YouTube, and I have like 2 or 3 other jobs or businesses that I run: graphic design, logos, drafting. I'm a truck driver, so I do okay, but I don't go to work from 8 in the morning till 5 at night. So a lot of people see me riding my bike and walking around town when they're in work or when they're going to work, and they're wondering, and then apparently in this small town, he was wondering why I wasn't working when he was working. That's what I got out of this. That's what I got from his question. And I've been asked that more times than you could imagine, with people insinuating that I should be in work at 10 a.m. in the morning. Why aren't you in work? I had one guy ask me, like, He came to my house. He was taking a poll in Thomaston, and he asked me where my work boots were. He says, I was standing out on the porch, and he says, I don't see any work boots out here. Where are your work boots? I do have work boots, but they're up in the closet, and I just have to assume that he's asking me like why I'm home this was before lunchtime. This is stuff that I encountered in small towns around here. And I hate to say this, I hate to diss the town that I grew up in, Thomaston, Connecticut, but it's become a very unfriendly, paranoid, suspicious town. And I, for the most part, I don't think these people even know that I'm against Trump. I don't wear anything that says, I don't wear anything. I don't have any bumper stickers or anything like that. When I'm out in public, I don't make my political beliefs known, except for one time. I took a knee at there was a Stop the Steal rally in Thomaston, and I had just had enough of this nonsense. And the rally was just beginning, and I walked in right as they were playing the national anthem, and I took a knee. And well, I'll put the video down below. You can see what happened. So, yeah, I find Bristol, Connecticut. I find this larger city very welcoming, friendly, and beautifully clean, and a wonderful place to live. And honestly, I would rather live here. I always thought I'd move back to the small town. I moved here because there was more housing and it was more affordable after COVID. And honestly, I'd rather stay here now that I've seen the city. I'd rather live here. Just some thoughts. Let me know what you think. Trump voting small towns versus larger cities. I found the cities are a lot more friendlier, a lot more welcoming, a lot less paranoid, a lot less selfish about their streets and their people walking on their streets in their area. Let me know what you think. Have a good Sunday.